a lot that's happened is starting to make so much more sense as I think back on my career. And I'm super impressed by how transparent you've been and how much we are sharing that some I didn't know and that most of our audience will have no clue of, because I do think it matters. I'm not saying you got to sit down with every agent and share this stuff, but like, it's really, really cool that Wellabe is the first insurance carrier to come on our channel and podcast and openly share all of these items.
Well, I think it's important for agents. First of all, let me just tell you that what I'm saying to you, I would say to anybody if they ask me out in the field, right? We're a very transparent company. We want to share because we want to make sure that the agents understand that they not only have a responsibility to their clients, they also have a responsibility to their carrier. And they actually sign a piece of paper when they do contracting to say that they have a hold of fiduciary responsibility to the carrier. I think the agents need to understand what our business is made of. I think it's important for agents to realize who they're doing business with and how we, the carrier, make money.
What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins, and today our special guest. I'm really excited about this. This is our first time ever having a Medicare and health insurance carrier on the channel that also is going to go behind the scenes a little bit, share stuff with agents that you absolutely need to know about when you are representing any carrier on the planet, and some things that make Wellabe, a medical company, extremely unique and impressive. They've been very supportive of our conference over the years. I'm so grateful for that. I love what they do. Also, side note, before I introduce our guests, they even invited my parents, Brian and Patty Askins, to come hang out in Napa and go on a wine tour. Jealous it wasn't me. Either way, my parents had a blast, and they love Kelly and Wellabe. So the AVP of Wellabe, a medical company, Kelly Rayburn.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming all the way to Springfield. It's not the easiest place to get to.
It is not the easiest place to get to, especially in a wind tunnel.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Where'd you travel from?
Indianapolis through Atlanta.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Delta.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, Delta snob.
I love it. Yeah, we don't have too many options. Delta's only through Atlanta, but I love Delta. Yeah. And, I've sat in first class in Delta, probably for the first time ever the other day. Normally I fly American, and it is different. Like, it is so nice.
Delta is, it's
and
elite.
New.
It is new.
I used to fly in Allegiant and these super old American planes, and I get on Delta, I'm like, am I on a spaceship? Like, where am I going? It's really cool. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here.
Sure. Thank you for asking me to come. I appreciate
absolutely. Super, super excited you're here. And I don't think we've done enough of this content personally. That's why I'm selfishly really excited, because agents, if you think about it, like, the carriers agents partner with are arguably more important than even the IMO or agency they partner with, in my opinion, because, they're selling your product. They are helping consumers, but you're the one that has to still help the consumer on the back end.
Correct.
There's a lot, like, you're paying their commissions, right? There's a bunch of reasons why the carriers they represent, they need to know about and take seriously. Would you agree with all that?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I think doing the work with an NMO, IMO, FMO, whatever you want to call it, is 100% the direction which an agent needs to go, because they can do a lot of work for them on the marketing side of things. But when it comes to the carriers that the agents are ultimately appointed with, man, they've got to be selective with those carriers, because we're ultimately taking care of the customer after the agent walks away. And I don't want to say that the agent walks away 100%, right? Because they're there to service their customer. But we're there on the daily. If there's a claim to be filed, if there's a service call that is needed to be taken, the agents aren't usually the one making that call. It's usually the policyholder calling us. Correct. And so it's very important for the agents to understand that whenever they partner with a carrier, they need to make sure that they're partnering with carriers that are going to care about their client just like they do.
Yes.
And I think, to be honest with you, I think we do it the best.
I think you do an incredible job. And some of the things that you were sharing earlier that we're going to get to in just a second are very unique.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's interesting too, because to that point, it's always talked about that, how important carriers are, but I don't think it's ever focused on as much as I think I believe, and I've seen it to be true, and you probably have too, a lot of agents and agencies around the world that just in the U.S., wherever, that are adding products to distribute through carriers, but they're never getting to know the carrier. How often are they actually going to the training that the carrier is offering? Mm-hmm. How much are they actually how long's the carrier been around? How what's their rating? How is their customer service? Let's find out.
Right.
I think that's important because if agents always say they want to take care of consumers and they love people they help and they do this for the money, but they love helping people, right?
Right.
Comes up a ton. Well, is the carrier you're putting people with helping them? Is it giving you a good name as an agent?
Mm-hmm.
Well, their experience with a carrier in most of the cases after the policy sold, as you mentioned, that's where the experience lies, is typically with the carrier. And they're really controlling the client experience in a big way.
For sure.
That controls whether they keep coming back to me to help them with their Medicare or health insurance. That controls whether they refer people to me based on their experience.
Oh, for sure.
Because they're going to say, well, you put me with that carrier, and I had this experience.
Right. Yeah, they don't realize how much the carrier really actually has, or how much they're involved with their customer. And agents need to understand that the carrier we believe that it's a dual ownership of the client, right? So we're here to make sure that we're providing the best possible products for you, the agents, to sell, and things that are going to be necessary for the clients to sell. And then we want to make sure that the client is actually going to be able to use that product. So when I say use that product, when a customer ends up ultimately filing a claim, and with the age bracket that we're working with that over 65 market, of course, they're going to be filing a claim sometime over the life of that product. We want to make sure that we're taking them through the process from soup to nuts, right? And to make sure that experience really works out for them. Also with customer service, you want to make sure that whenever they call that customer service line, that call is being answered, and it's being answered in a timely manner. It's being answered by somebody that the customer can understand, right? That it's a slow enough tempo through customer service. You want to make sure that the agent also, if they're going to call agent support or agent services, that agent is going to be able to find out that same information about the customer as the customer would be able to find out about themselves. So ultimately, that co-ownership is going to be a very important piece of it. And going back to something else that you said, you made a comment about IMOs, NMOs, things like that earlier. Yes. And you said, sometimes they put the agent with a carrier that they may not even know the product. Something I think that's important is your relationship, you as the agent, the relationship that you have with your upline is going to be just as important as what that upline has with the carrier, right? So I have very good relationships with a lot of people inside of my NMOs. They know my product. They don't really have to call me for much, which is really actually kind of nice because they know what the information that I've already given them. It's been, they're educated on what I provide to their agents. Yep. I think that's an important thing too. Yeah,
I think it is very important. And too, a unique angle to that is there's agencies, I don't know all the lingo as well as you, right? So but there are some massive, all these letters and, huge companies.
Right.
That they have to get permission to sell your product. Mm-hmm. They have to stay in good standing.
Yes.
And good graces to sell your product.
Yes.
And there's a lot of times, hopefully not a lot, but over the years there is, where an agent, a company X, has distribution rights, is what I'll call it, to that carrier. And then something happens, or they don't do something that Wellabe likes or prefers, or whatever the case is, unethical, et cetera, and that ability to place policyholders with Wellabe gets cut. That affects all those downline agents as well.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think that gets talked about enough either.
There has been some times in the not so distant past that I've had to terminate agents or agencies for naughty behavior. Some of that is
I like that. Naughty behavior.
I mean, we're coming up into the season, right?
That's
Christmas
right.
is around the corner, so you better be naughty or nice. But agents can be very naughty. They can speak to agent support like that other person is not an actual person on the other side. They think that is something that they deserve to treat that other person wrongly, and that's not what we do.
That annoys me so bad.
Oh,
too.
it's so not good. Or they may have bad quality of business, meaning that they have set forth applications and we may have paid them advance, and then all of a sudden those applications lapse, and we see that as becoming habitual. Those type of agents are naughty, and they may have to ultimately be terminated. Some agents are just naughty enough not to produce anything. So it comes back to the relationship with the upline. Maybe that upline has said, these are the 10 carriers that we're going to get you appointed with, and that agent really only wants to have 1 or 2 ultimately, and then they don't produce anything. We've paid all those appointment fees, and then we end up ultimately having to terminate them.
Yes.
So really, it's up to the agents, to be good stewards of what it is that they're actually getting themselves into before they either become an agent or become an agent of record for our company.
Yeah.
So
On that note too, like, there's a few things I thought about that you mentioned. Yeah, how you treat people is so important. I can't imagine. I mean, sure, everything can go perfect all the time. No, are carriers gonna like not approve a policy when an agent wants it to get approved and get paid? Sure, there's gonna be there's gonna be disagreements. There's gonna be things that happen, but how you carry yourself is so important. And
Sure.
Carriers get to choose whether they do business with you as the agent or not. Like I tell our team, if you do not like working with someone because of the way they talk to you or the way they treat you, we just don't have to do business with them. Like we have products and services to help agents and agencies. We don't have to sell them. Same for you. And if the problem is too, I don't think agents realize this. If you do that enough, word starts to spread.
Oh, for sure.
Do you think Kelly talks to other carriers?
The answer to that is yes.
She does.
All the time. We call one another all the time. And you have to remember, like, whenever we're all together in an event, right? So let's say, for example, we go to 8% Nation and all the carriers are standing around and you guys go into session. You have to remember that the hours that you're in session are the hours that we're spending together. So as much as you all would like to think that we're, mud wrestling out in the parking lot for, the most competitive edge on our product. That is not what's happening. What's happening is it's like our reunion, especially when it's in rollout season, right? We're one place one day, one place another day, and we're usually all together traveling in a pact. We spend weeks together, and that, I think, is important to understand, that I can call Steve or Jim or Ty, or you end up naming, a carrier rep. I likely know them because we've been together for years at this point.
True.
So where we're all striving to get the attention of the agents, we know that your life is a goldfish, right? You come out of that meeting or whatever, you have 30 seconds to talk to us, and we have to entertain you for 30 seconds on why we are the best at what we do. And we do our best at making sure that we can keep your attention that way. But the people that we talk to the most are our peers. So yes, we talk amongst ourselves, and we talk amongst ourselves about agents and agencies and a lot. I mean, we do. And because we're here to protect ourselves. Correct. So let me give you another example. So about a year and a half ago, we had a naughty agency, and there was 5 agents or so that were with this agency, and they were writing really bad business. They were writing fraudulent business. And we ended up getting a call from a large agency and said, hey, we're terminating these guys, but I want to let you know they're not with Wellabe through us, but they're with Wellabe through another upline. And I said, well, how do you know that? Well, they went out to Vector, pulled all their appointments, and saw that they were with us. So he told me everything that was going on, and they left them with a roll-up of $150,000 plus.
Oh
okay. Gosh. So immediately I put those agents on notice. I took away their advancing. They hadn't written any business with the Medico side, but had with our Great Western side, which we have no longer doing business on that side of Wellabe. Yep. But we terminated them through Great Western immediately. We put them on as earned with Medico. Come to find out that they were doing this all over other carriers. Well, the reason why we found that out is because once one carrier knows, we start spreading the word. So all those agents they can't write business anywhere anymore.
Wow.
So yeah, we talk.
It matters.
It absolutely does, because we want to protect ourselves.
Correct.
If the agents aren't going to protect us, which they do a very good job of it. This agency did not.
Right.
But they were in it for the wrong reason.
Yeah. And there's a lot of good apples, right? Which is amazing.
Of course.
Yeah. Bunch of amazing people in our industry.
More good apples than bad.
Amen. Which is, gosh, that would suck if that wasn't the case, right?
Right.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, that's awesome too. And one thing I was thinking about too is like, I've always wanted, I don't know why, but like I have always wanted carriers, and I think it's because I've always wanted carriers to speak highly about Cody Askins. I have. I think it's because too, maybe with what we do, it's like it's harder to get the attention of carriers, with social media and events and marketing and leads and that kind of stuff. It's just harder to get the attention of carriers. However, I've always felt like that even when I was selling day to day, it's super, super important. And, no matter how bad of a day you're having, it's not the other person's fault that's answering the phone. Because even if somebody pressed a button that upset you, the person answering the phone probably didn't press the button.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Yep.
Also, too, I don't think agents realize there's a bunch of really valuable information that agents need to know that they don't know in regards to. Actually, I'll jump to this one first. And there's something else you said I'll come back to, but acronyms of companies, IMO, NMO, FMO, et cetera, et cetera. I would do it a disservice trying to explain it, for sure. Now, do I think I know like national and independent and field and some of that? Sure. But if an agent's like brand new to Medicare, health insurance, et cetera, what do they need to know in regards to some of that? And does it matter? Do they care? Is it good for them to know what some of these things mean? I guess they are, maybe choosing where they're placing their contracts and some of that stuff.
Right. So I think probably the best way to talk about it is breaking it down to the most elementary level for a new agent. So when you, and you and I can understand this, right? I've been in this business for 30 years. I came out as an agent, right? I don't know anything else. You don't know anything else, right? We get where this business has come from. It's built us as people.
Amen.
And I think the one thing for agents to understand is whenever they want to sell a carrier or whenever they get their license to sell any product, health insurance, life insurance, whatever that is, they have to pick a partner to do business with, right? They cannot come directly to a carrier. They have to go through a national marketing agency, an independent marketing organization, a field marketing organization, and there's some large organizations that are out there. That is how you get to the carrier. So an agent really needs to do their due diligence, because as soon as they get their license, those marketing organizations are going to pick up their information somehow. They're going to buy it off of a list and go, this is what I can provide you. So when we do have agents that call directly into us and say, hey, how can I come direct to carrier? Well, you can't. But what I can do is I can recommend a handful of marketing organizations that I would recommend that you call and interview to see if they're going to provide you the necessary tools that you want to be able to get your job done. Because some agents are going to want heavy lead opportunities. Some agents are going to want somebody to call and set up seminars. Some agents are going to want, hey, I just need to call so that you can get my problem solved with whatever carrier I'm dealing with. Some agents want to put all their eggs in one basket, and some agents don't, right? Some agents want to go to multiple marketing organizations because they're like, nah, I'm not going to get caught, right? So I think it's important for agents to understand that the relationship that they have with their upline is important, and you wouldn't do anything with a new employer or as a new employee without asking a lot of questions. So I think it's important that they interview multiple before they settle on one or two or 10.
I love that that's the case too, because I think there's a lot of agents that they get in the business. I think because we have been in the business for so long, what we forget, and we did grow up in it. I guess I grew up in it my whole life and then started when I was 19, right? I forget the basics around this industry that have been ingrained in me my entire life, that new agents don't have a clue. Like Dylan was telling me the other day, he's like, he's like, you got to remember when we're speaking to a lot of these new agents that they don't, in some cases, they don't even know what a lead is.
Oh, I know it.
Because they were working somewhere else, not in sales, and they're now in sales, and they don't know what a lead even means, right? Even though there's so many agencies that hear this and be like, that's crazy. But that is true, though.
Absolutely.
Right? Which is good to know.
And it's important that the agencies explain what they bring to the table. They need to give their catalog of products and services that they provide each agent, because if they can't outline it well enough for an agent so that they understand it, like if you have an agent that doesn't really know what a lead is, well, you need to be able to show that agent what that lead is, what it means, what they need to do with it. And that's not the carrier's position on it. That's 100%. That should be the marketing organization.
Yes.
I think marketing organizations should be more concerned with making their agents successful than the number of agents that they put in their portfolio.
I like that. There's a lot of angles and questions I could ask based on that, but I completely agree. Agents would agree as well. Like, obviously there's organizations and people are able to recruit as many people as they want, which is amazing.
Right.
And there's, that doesn't mean if you never recruit a bunch of people that you won't take care of them, because that's not always the case. But there are definitely organizations that their goal is to help agents make money and agents succeed. And I think that more of our industry needs to be that way. A lot of it is, because at the end of the day, I'm not helping anyone if agents aren't making money and doing well. Not helping carriers, not helping clients, not helping agents, not helping my company, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Yeah. All boats rise.
That's right.
When the tides rise.
That's right. I love that. Here's one thing I was thinking about too is there's also when a agent is getting contracted through a company to the carrier, you mentioned appointment fees.
Yes.
And also agents I don't think they realize the amount of time, energy, money y'all spend to help them get appointed.
Yes.
They just assume that you're pressing a button and then boom, they have a writing number. And if they don't sell, it's okay. Nobody spent any time or money, whatever, right? And the good news is you want to, agents on board. But you also, obviously, as a carrier, you would prefer that agents are selling more of your product naturally. That's how your company grows. That's how everybody at the carrier company gets taken care of.
Right.
That's how you keep servicing and taking care of clients amazingly, right? What is that? What's all involved in an agent getting appointed? How the appointment fee system works? I don't think agents realize, other than time that a carrier would spend to get them appointed, that there's actual appointment fees and it's costing you money.
Oh yeah.
To even appoint people. Most agents do not know that.
Okay. And sometimes I think working for a carrier, I take a couple of things for granted, and this is probably one of them. And I can give you an example after I kind of break it down. So remind me about Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I'll tell you a little bit about Pennsylvania.
Got it.
So, when an agent's appointment paperwork comes in, that's the first point where we're going to talk about fees. So you have to remember that I have to pay someone to be able to run that paperwork through a system to make sure that their background is clear. So an agent's not going to get appointed for, it could be a variety of things. And just to kind of name one, if you have a murder on your record, we're not going to appoint you, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, that's a felony. That's just not going to be something that I can overcome, right?
Yeah.
So there's some other things though.
I think that's pretty carrier.
That's pretty carrier
standard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Standard. Yes, that's it. We're just not going to do that. So the first thing is I'm going to pay somebody to touch that paperwork and make sure that the background is clean. But you have to remember that not only am I paying for the person that has to check to see if the background is clean, I also have to check. I have to pay for the background check.
You don't get to run background checks for free.
I do not. And then most of the time, agents are getting appointed in multiple states. They don't just come to us for their resident state. Their resident state may be Kentucky, and they may want Tennessee, Indiana, Ohio, Florida, multiple states because they have friends and family that are going to be in those states, or maybe they are a dialing agent. Who knows, right?
Yep.
So they're going to need multiple states, which means multiple background checks. And then it's also going to be...
you're not running one, you're running it by state.
We're running it by... Yeah, we'll run it by state.
Do some states cooperate with each other on the background check?
Yes, some of them
that's
do.
good. That's
Yep,
good. But
some of
wow,
them do.
I didn't even think about a call center places an agent, and gets them appointed, and 10 states. I didn't realize that you're probably paying for several background checks as
Yes,
well.
several background
Can you
checks.
share approximately how much a background check costs or no?
It's going to vary by state.
Got it.
And there are going to be some
range?
states. I'll get to that with Pennsylvania.
Okay, good.
So,
good.
So there is a range to it, and there's also some states that will not do a background check until the agent is getting ready to actually write business. So we call that just-in-time appointment. So
Yes, good.
just-in-time allows us to put the agent in pending, and then once they submit their first piece of business, then the background check takes place.
Cool.
So it could delay the issue of the business up to a couple hours.
That's your a couple hours.
Yeah, it could be a couple hours. Usually states that are going to take longer,
You're
such
say
as
a couple
Pennsylvania.
weeks. You said a couple hours.
Yeah, a couple hours. So such as Pennsylvania, it usually takes about 2 weeks for a background check.
Okay.
Now,
And some of that's not out of it's not in your control.
oh no, most of that is not in my control.
Side note, and then I wanted you to continue. So many agents do think that when something is being held up, contract-wise, application-wise, etc., that it is entirely your fault and entirely within your control, and you guys are just slow, or you don't have enough people, or you're overwhelmed, or you're not smart at your job, whatever, right? And that you are choosing to just not hit the big red button that says approve.
Right. Or easy.
Pay.
We need an easy button.
Easy button.
Yep,
Yes.
we need an easy button. Well, that's unfortunate sometimes because again, yes, agents want everything now because I believe in the power of the goldfish mind, right? So an agent has a 9-second attention span.
Yeah.
They expect all of that information to take place in 9 seconds. It
And in
doesn't happen.
2024, coming in 2025, it's getting worse, by the way.
For sure. Yep. So let me roll back to Pennsylvania. So
Okay.
in the state of Pennsylvania, it's very expensive to get appointment fees. And we have 3 different charters that we appoint agents to. And here recently, a charter, just to let you know,
Yeah.
is the paper, the insurance underwriting paper that the contract is going to be issued on for the client. Okay, so we have Medico Insurance Company, Medico Life and Health, and so on. Okay, so we were moving from one underwritten paper to another underwritten paper. I had 3,700 agents in the state of Pennsylvania that I had to move from one underwritten paper to another underwritten paper.
Because you were shifting brands to
Correct.
the Wellabe brand.
Shifting from one underwritten Medico paper to another. We're still underwritten
Got
by
it.
Medico.
Got it. Understood.
Yep. So I was going to have to move 3,700 agents. Well, there's quite a few of those agents that had never written a piece of business, right? So it was going to cost me $65,000 to move 3,700 agents from one Medico paper to another Medico paper so that they would be able to write the Medicare supplement.
What was the expense?
So we were actually lowering rates, increasing our application, and increasing our household discount in the state of Pennsylvania. So we were making benefits better.
Got it. Why was it going to cost you $65,000 though?
Because the agents have to move from the one that we're closing down to the new one that's going to have the additional benefits for the clients.
Got it. And it's not just in time of the team members.
Nope.
It's
Not in the state of Pennsylvania.
Louise.
So $65,000 for 3,700 agents. So what we did is we said, hey, we're going to move you with no questions if you've written a piece of business with us in the last 24 months. So I cut my costs from $65,000 to a little under $30,000 because that's how many agents who had not written a piece of business with us in the state of Pennsylvania.
So over half.
Over half. Yep.
Dang.
So it's expensive. It's
It's a good story to illustrate it though.
Yeah. It's an expensive thing to do to get to appoint agents. In addition to the fact that for every dollar that Medico brings in for premium, we keep a penny of it. That's how much. That's a penny for every dollar of premium that we actually bring in. We keep 1 penny for 6 years. So that covers all of my admin costs. That covers the agent's commission. That covers the admin costs of the policy, sending out the policy, customer service, being on staff. 1 penny out of every dollar is what we make for the first 6 years.
You better bring in a lot of dollars.
We bring in a lot of dollars. But yes, the marketing the marketing margin of a Medicare supplement product is very slim. So when you see carriers that have very low rates in states, just look out for those particular carriers, simply because those carriers are going to take really large rate increases in the next year because they need to make money. So they're collecting your people.
Wow.
and they're going to put your people into that underwriting paper, and then they're going to close the charter. They're going to do a huge rate increase, and then some of your customers are going to get stuck there. So because they need to make more money.
This is a lot that's happened is starting to make so much more sense as I think back on my career. And I'm super impressed by, sorry, people keep walking by. I'm super impressed by how transparent you've been and how much we are sharing that some I didn't know and that most of our audience will have no clue of, because I do think it matters. I'm not saying you got to sit down with every agent and share this stuff, but like, it's really, really cool that Wellabe is the first insurance carrier to come on our channel and podcast and openly share all of these items.
Well, I think it's important for agents. First of all, let me just tell you that what I'm saying to you, I would say to anybody if they ask me out in the field, right? We're a very transparent company. We want to share because we want to make sure that the agents understand that they not only have a responsibility to their clients, they also have a responsibility to their carrier. And they actually sign a piece of paper when they do contracting to say that they have a hold of fiduciary responsibility to the carrier, right?
True.
So I think the agents need to understand what our business is made of. I think it's important for agents to realize who they're doing business with and how we, the carrier, make money. Because for every $1,000 of premium that the agent brings in, we don't keep $1,000, right? We give the percent back to the agent that we're making a commission. Yep. We have a lot of costs that are associated with that. And I think it's important for agents to know that, because then they can kind of have their aha moment going, oh, maybe I don't necessarily just want to replace every piece of business that I have every 3 years for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's important for agents to understand that it's still about building and not about maintaining.
Yes. And according to your math, they bring in $1,000, you're keeping $10, right? One out of every 100?
$10.
Yeah.
One out of every $100. Yeah, we actually had
I had no clue about
We had
that.
a great meeting, all employee meeting, a couple of them, I guess it was last December. And they made a dollar bill with my boss's face on it, because he's the head of all of our national sales for all of our agencies. And that dollar bill was segmented into different colors to show what each one of those colors and how much money went to it. And
That's
then
awesome.
how much we actually made in profit. And, the carrier doesn't just keep that dollar. We have to invest that dollar so that dollar can turn into an internal rate of return somehow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also true. Last question. Well, I could talk for hours. This has been amazing, by the way. I absolutely appreciate you being here. It's been so good. So good. Also, if you guys are loving this, man, not only jump in comments and let Kelly and her team know how awesome they are and how awesome it is that they're being transparent, how much you enjoyed the podcast. And hey, maybe you go to Wellabe.com and check out Wellabe, add Wellabe to your carrier portfolio.
For sure.
If you're going to use it.
Yeah, don't lose it.
Yeah.
Use it.
Yes,
don't lose it.
That's right. I love that.
Yeah. So Wellabe.com is our main website. That's where agents and anybody that's looking really about who Wellabe is, they can go to. And then if they want to get a hold of me or someone on my team, they can send us an email at healthsalesteam@wellabe.com. healthsalesteam.com at wellabe.com. I did that twice today. And that will get to me or my team member. And then if anybody wants to get a hold of me directly, you can do Kelly Rayburn at wellabe.com.
Nice.
You can get a hold of me directly.
I love that.
But, for agents that are interested in getting into the Medicare market, or maybe just the supplemental health market, right? Because we're just not a Medicare supplement carrier. We work in hospital indemnity. We have cancer products. We have dental products. We have short-term care, which is an extended care plan. It's kind of like the... smells just like long-term care, which is the business that I came from. So it's a product that's kind of like my passion project. I love that plan.
That's cool.
If agents are looking just to even increase what they can offer instead of passing along a referral, get a hold of us. Let us talk to you about it. And the other thing too, just before we kind of bring this whole thing down, one of the things that I was doing today before we met is I was doing our Tuesday Talk facilitation. So what we have is a Tuesday Talk. It's a television show. It's live. It's all about agent concept. It has nothing to do with product. We do talk about sometimes about how to place product, especially prior to this annual enrollment period. We talked about cross-selling, hospital indemnity, things like that. But today we were even talking about what to do with leads. what to do with your current leads, what to do with your
Wow.
old leads. Next week, we're actually going to be talking about how to be the best agent. Like how not to drift off of your plan, because a mediocre agent can still make money, but a great agent, being the best agent that you can, will get rich in this business. It is a fantastic career for someone just starting, someone that just needs to be energized as an experienced agent. They just need a little extra boost to go, you know what, I need to kick this back in gear. I've gotten in a rut, whatever that is.
Yep.
So, we do some things with our agent base that is, I think, kind of different than other carriers. They don't usually have talk shows, if you will. And
I love
Tuesday
that.
Talk is a really great place. We have 3,700 agents that are registered for it. And
Wow.
So we did a really good job of building it.
That's cool. How many agents do you have appointed around the country?
We have 60,000 agents right now.
60,000. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, 60,000 agents from Medico. I would say probably 40,000 of those are active writers. We have
Cool.
776 million policyholders that are under the Wellabe brand.
Say that again.
776 million.
Wow. That is insane.
It's a we're bigger than what people think we are.
A lot bigger.
Yeah, but we're a super agile company. We take your feedback and we use it.
I think it's what I was impressed too, to add this to before we wrap, is it actually benefits agents that you are small and agile. You also talked about talk about being small and agile, the application, what you did to shorten the application time by like a sixth. Very important, by the way. Time is money. And then the customer service side.
Yeah. So our customer service, I think, is important because agents, especially that work in our business, mostly servicing customers that are over the 65, I think they forget sometimes that we might, or some carriers, not us, might send off customer service overseas. And we don't do that. Our customer service is actually stateside. In fact, to be honest with you, most of our customer service is either going to be in Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Iowa, or Ogden, Utah. So we are here for your customers. So when they call in, they're going to get somebody that's going to be stateside. The other thing that we pride ourselves on with customer service is called one-touch resolution, a one-call resolution. So as soon as the customer or the agent calls into either agent support or customer service, we're going to rectify the situation within that first call. You're not going to leave without some sort of resolution to whatever is concerning you. And then, so the thing about the application, gosh, I lost my brain.
No, you're good.
For those of you that can't see me, I don't know if you can. I am blonde.
Right here.
So I lose my brain every once in a while. So one of the things that we did with our application, which
maybe my hair's actually blonde down here.
I can get Lauren to take care of that for you.
Yes, please.
So one of the things that we did with our application, which I think was pretty groundbreaking, and we tested this for two years. So 2 years ago, we took our application and made the drug question, so the pharmaceutical question, optional. And so all the agent had to do was, do you want us, the carrier, to check the prescriptions electronically? They hit yes, we do that. So the agent didn't have to put that information into it. So
amazing.
At that same time,
they had to list the actual drugs?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing that you said that, because that is one of the worst things to have to do.
Well, it's alphabet soup, and most of the time, right? I mean, I don't type like some of those letters together ever, right?
Levothyroxine and all kind of
right,
wild.
It's crazy. So then at that same time, we started going, I wonder if we could take the application questions off of the underwritten MedSup apps. So we started testing the theory. We kind of put the parameters together and said, let's see how many applications would actually roll through without having an underwriting touch, right? So it was like 80% at that time, just testing it for 2 years. So this year, prior to AEP in 15 states, more to come, so that you know, we took away all of the underwriting questions on the application. It does not make it a true guarantee issue application. It does go through underwriting, but we do it all electronically. So here's what the application looks like now. Agent sits down with the customer. I'm your agent, right, Cody?
Yep.
So I take all of your information, Cody Askins, your address, name, city, state, zip, social security number, email, date of birth, and then also the gender that you identify. And then you move on. And the next sheet is going to be your agent statement. The next sheet's going to be the replacement screen. The next is going to be the banking information. And then you're going to sign the application. That's all. It takes about 5 minutes. As soon as you hit submit, then the L's of Wellabe start to turn. It takes about 2 minutes.
That's cool.
Those L's will then let you know if you have an approval or if you have a little bit more information that we need to take place, which could be just
Additional
us verifying
questions that you would have the agent ask maybe?
Well, it could be that, or it could be just checking their Medicare Part B number.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So those L's turn, let's say you get approved. At that time, that application went from 32 minutes on average to 5 minutes, and you already got an approval.
That's awesome.
So we know that the agents have to sit down, talk to the customer about the carriers that they want to place, right? And then they get into the application. That application could be lengthy depending on who the carrier is.
Yeah.
But most of the agents already know exactly what they need to uncover from the client in general conversation to know if they're going to get approved or not.
Correct.
So we just took that off the table.
That is amazing.
Yep. So
does it cost you money to do that check at the end?
Yes, it does.
Everything costs the money. Man.
Everything is cha-chang. Yes, for sure. It definitely costs us money.
I used to do I remember the MedSup apps I did when I first started. They were 40, 50, 60 pages. Like it was a lot. Like a lot. And it took me, I got to where I could do it. Obviously agents get to where you do it and you do it quick, but man, but still, it would still take a long time. And even when I was, selling over the phone, 32 minutes was pretty regular, to do a 5, like, gosh, I'm so jealous. Like, I love it. I'm like, okay, now I'm going back out in the field after this. I'm only selling with Wellabe.
Well, thank you. Yes, you will only sell Wellabe.
That's right.
I came from life insurance, long-term care, disability, annuities, and my life for the first 20 years of working in the field was taking applications, and it was all written. Oh,
those fully underwritten life apps.
Oh, and long-term care apps. Those to me were the biggest pain.
Gosh.
Like that's uncovering things that you just don't want to know about a customer most of the time.
That intrigued me about the extended care too, because I wrote 8 long-term care apps in 1 week one time. This was years ago. I was like, I'm gonna focus more on long-term care. I went and wrote 8, pretty good sized cases, and then 4 or 5 got declined, and I'm like, gosh dang it, maybe I'm not going to focus on long-term care.
Right.
However, I do think it's a huge concern for seniors.
Oh, big.
You're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table by ignoring it.
Yes.
It's already concerning them anyway, large percentage of them, and now you'll have an option with Wellabe to help with that, which is cool.
Right. Yeah, our short-term care plan is pretty awesome, and it's not guarantee issue, but there's only one knockout question. So it's pretty. Can
you perform
awesome.
the activities of daily living or something different?
That is the question.
Nice. Look at this. I don't know. Maybe
you're coming back. I can feel you coming back to the field, my friend.
Slowly. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
You've been very open, very educational, brought a ton of value. If agents are ever like, hey, I want to understand how carriers work, this is the interview they should watch. 1,000%. Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you for being at Springfield, and thank you for being on the Power Player podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you. Also, thank you guys for hanging with us and learning and listening. I have a whole page of notes. Also, did I miss any questions? If I miss any questions, jump in chat and let us know. I am super impressed with Wellabe, Kelly Rayburn, and the entire Medico operation. If you want to learn more, you can go to Wellabe, WELLABE.com. We'll put it in the description below, or you can email health sales, SALES, team, health sales team at Wellabe.com. Thanks for hanging with us, and we will see you on the next episode of the Power Player Podcast. Bye.